Welcome to this week's edition of the Sko Buffs Sports Live Show. I'm Meghan MacPherson, and joining me for his first time on the anchor desk is Aidan Young-Sgoutas. How does it feel, Aidan?
Glad to be here, Meghan. In a world jam full of news and sports, it can be hard sometimes to keep up with all the action, but never fear. The Sko Buffs Sports team is here to keep you updated on everything CU sports related. Now, quite a lot has happened in the sports world since our last broadcast, including 2 NCAA championships.
Neither of which, unfortunately, featured the Buffs.
Yes. However, the women's basketball team had an impressive run, going all the way to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2003.
Unfortunately, the Buffs, as did many teams this year, fell to the machine that is Caitlin Clark in their matchup against the Iowa Hawkeyes. But what a way to start off the final spring break of our college careers.
Thank you for that reality check, Meghan. Well, enough reminiscing. Let's talk news. There is some exciting news regarding our CU men's basketball team, so let's get into it.
For just the second time in school history, the Buffs men's basketball team will be headed to Maui to kick off the 2023-24 season in the Maui Jim Maui Invitational. Tad Boyle's club will join a stacked field in the Aloha State for the prestigious tournament, which will include perennial powers North Carolina and Michigan State, along with defending national champion UConn. The Buffs' first appearance came back in 2009 when they were bounced in the first round and finished with a 1-2 record overall.
In addition, the men's Hoopers may have found their starting center of the future, as former TCU Horned Frog Eddie Lampkin Jr. will join Tad Boyle and the Buffs through the transfer portal next season. The 6'11" sophomore averaged 6 points and 6 rebounds this past season for the Frogs and was a crucial piece of TCU's last 2 successful campaigns. Lampkin chose CU over other established programs such as Florida, Xavier, and Arkansas.
In other men's basketball news, Tad Boyle was chosen to serve as the head coach of the USA Basketball men's under-19 national team at the 2023 FIBA Men's U19 World Cup. The World Cup will take place from June 24th to July 2nd in Hungary. It will certainly be exciting to see a slice of Boulder basketball on the world stage.
ESPN's Way Too Early Top 25 came out last weekend, which included both CU men's and women's teams. After a March Madness appearance this year, they have the women's team at 20, just behind FSU. They're expecting the men's team to take a huge leap with additions of Cody Williams and former TCU big man Eddie Lampkin. They have them at 13th. After a March Madness appearance this year, ESPN has the women's team ranked at 20, just behind FSU. Harrison Simeon is here to talk about the girls' admirable showing at the national tournament in this week's Buff Banner. Take it away.
What's up, y'all? I'm Harrison Simeon, and it's time for a little Buff Banner. And for this week's edition, I decided to take a look back at what was an absolute season to remember for the CU women's basketball team. The Buffs may have fallen in the Sweet 16 to Caitlin Clark and the eventual NCAA tournament runner-up Iowa Hawkeyes, but almost no one expected this team to get that far in the first place. The squad may have been somewhat formidable 2 seasons back, where they finished 5th in the Pac-12 and earned a 7th seed in that year's NCAA tournament, but they were upset in the first round by 10th seeded Creighton, and top scorer and rebounder Maya Hollingshed departed for the WNBA. This left Buffs head coach J.R. Payne with something to prove heading into her 7th season at CU, and did she ever. This past season, CU polled at number 21 in the country and earned a 3rd place finish in an ultra-competitive Pac-12. And while they were upset in the second round of the respective conference tournament by its eventual champ, Washington State, they then proceeded to pull off an epic Sweet 16 run and earned the Buffs their first March Madness wins since 2003. They may not have excelled in any one statistical category compared to other ranked teams, but the skills of Quay Miller, the tenacious perimeter defense of Tayana Jones, the timely shooting of Frida Foreman, the low post presence of transfer student Aaronette Von Lay, and the absolute dog of Jalen Sherrod galvanized the Buffs to finish with 25 regular season wins, their most in 10 years. Best of all, they captured the spirit of CU all season long, with a gritty play style that wore down their opponents with relentless defense, unshakable hustle, and a discernible identity that carried them into their NCAA tournament wins against Middle Tennessee and especially against Duke. Who knows what may come next, as Sherrod and Jones are both set to depart as seniors. However, Quay Miller, the team's leading scorer this past season, recently announced that despite her senior status, she will return for one last ride. Foreman and Von Lay also still have time left at CU, and impactful backup guards Kendall Wetta and Tamia Sadler may get their chance to fill the holes left by Sherrod and Jones in the backcourt. Who knows? We may even get to see Coach Prime's daughter, Shelomai, in action after her transfer from Jackson State this past year. Whatever may be in store for the future of CU women's hoops, none should take for granted what can be considered a magical season for the Buffs, full of ups and downs, but with the passion, success, and competitive fire to restore optimism to the program and capture the hearts of all the Buff faithful. You just could not love this past year's team. I'm Harrison Simeon, and this was my Buff Banner. Let's get it back to you at the desk.
Coach J.R. Payne was rewarded with a new 5-year contract on March 30th after leading the Colorado women's basketball team to their first Sweet 16 in 2 decades. The new deal replaces the extension she signed back in 2021, keeping her as head coach through the 2027-28 season. While contract details have yet to be released, it is rumored that Payne's new deal will pay her around $300,000 more than her original extension. In the past 2 seasons, Payne led the Buffs to a 47-18 record, along with a Sweet 16 appearance. With such great success, I think it's fair to say that this contract is well-deserved.
Well, you can say that again. And now, for our trivia question of the week, we want to know which college basketball season had both the men's and women's Buffs ranked in the AP poll. Make sure to stick around for the answer later in the show. I hope you're ready, Colorado football fans, because the annual spring black and gold game is creeping up faster than a Jimmy Horn Jr. go route. In just over 2 weeks, Coach Prime and the new Buffaloes look to take the field in front of a sold-out Folsom crowd as well as a national audience. Yes, you heard that right. Not only will the Buffs play in front of over 35,000 fans, but the 1 o'clock game will also be nationally televised on ESPN. So, if you missed your chance to grab a ticket, don't worry. The Buffs have been working hard in practice with Horn Jr. being the first to officially earn his number. So be prepared to cheer on our squad for the upcoming season as they have been getting after it all spring.
The lacrosse team has been on an absolute tear lately. After a sluggish 0-4 start, the team has rallied to win 6 out of their 7 last contests, including an overtime thriller on the road against the Oregon Ducks this past Saturday. Over this stretch, the Buffs have been led by the 4-headed monster of Charlie Rudy, Sam McGee, Ashley Stokes, and Morgan Pence, who have been responsible for over 75% of the team's total points this season. This afternoon, the squad smacked San Diego State by a score of 17-4, leaving their record at 6-5 overall and a dominant 4-1 in conference play as they approach the home stretch of their regular season.
Since our last live show on March 24th, there's been several exciting announcements from the CU women's soccer team. Colorado landed its 3rd Division I transfer for the 2023 season, adding midfielder Isabel Esquei from George Washington University to the team. Esquei has 1 year of eligibility remaining and will earn her degree in biomedical engineering this May. 2 existing standout players on the CU squad, Juliana Hayward and Jordan Knights, were 2 of 46 players selected for call-ups to the U.S. Women's Youth National Team training camps on Monday. All players in both camps are age eligible for the 2024 FIFA U20 Women's World Cup. So both Hayward and Knights could have a shot at playing on the world stage.
Stanford hosted the men's golf team this week, where they scraped together a 12th place finish. Dylan McDermott once again led Colorado to their spot. He finished 4th overall with a score of 2 under 68. Another impressive showing from McDermott, and he tied the 4th best score in CU history on a par 70 layout.
The women's golf team competed in Napa, California this week at the Chevron Silverado Showdown. They finished in 17th place overall. Sophomore Natalie Vo was the shining light for the team, leading the team for the second tournament in a row for the Buffaloes. She placed 24th overall at 8 over. Senior Malik Boreata made her comeback after a series of injuries stopped her from playing all this past year, which made this a great week for the Buffs.
Sko Buffs!
Sko Buffs!
Thank you.
This week, the CU track and field team traveled all the way across the country to various invites. 10 Buffs recorded their personal best. Isaiah Genevis placed first in the 800 meter and second in the 1500 meter. Avery McMullen won the 100 meter hurdles. Whitney Valenti also secured the Buffs a win in the 1500 meter. In the men's hammer, Tyler Scones placed first and Amos Newman placed second.
The Colorado tennis team has been on a serious slide recently. They got swept by USC and UCLA during their latest road trip to Southern California. They fall to 0-5 in Pac-12 conference play. Hopefully the team can rally this weekend as they face Washington State at home.
The 16th ranked men's club lacrosse team won their first conference game last night versus the Utah Utes on senior night. Graduate student Grayson Mitchell scored a hat trick in that game. Mitchell scored 2 crucial goals in the final 6.5 minutes to put the Buffs in front, a lead they would not lose. CU will play Texas tomorrow at 1 p.m. for their final home game of the season. That game will be played at Manhattan Middle School due to scheduling conflicts with the Mile High tournament.
But wait, we have even more lacrosse action. The women's club lacrosse team is hosting the Mile High tournament this weekend. 10 schools from across the country, including 6 of the top 10 teams, will compete in a 3-day tournament to close out the regular season. There will be about 20 games throughout the weekend on several different fields. CU is currently ranked at number 4 in the country and will be challenged this weekend with 4 games in 3 days. They start with a match against UCF tonight at Kitty Field. The Buffs will follow this matchup against 3 top 6 teams, including the number 1 team in the country, Boston College. We wish the girls the best of luck this weekend to close out their regular season.
I think Aidan meant Kid Field. That's okay. The CU club baseball team is off to a hot start. Oh God, sorry. The team played 10 games over spring break and went 8-2 throughout those games. A dominating sweep over Wyoming at home started the week off. CU played 4 games in Vegas against a variety of teams and went 2-2. They wrapped up the week in Greeley against Northern Colorado. They made quick work of the Bears sweeping the series. The Buffs now look forward to their series versus Colorado State in Fort Collins this weekend.
Who's the biggest Buff fan here?
Me! That guy. Sko Buffs. Go Buffs, baby! We're all about the Buffs! Sko Buffs! Woo! They can't contain us. We're the best. We can't be stopped. Sko Buffs! Sko Buffs! Sko Buffs!
What's up, Buff fans? I'm Troy Finnegan, and I'm bringing the heat on this week's edition of Rapid Fire. Let's check out what the Buffs are up to this weekend. The track and field team kicked off competition in the Kit Meyer Invitational today, and events will run through tomorrow evening down at the Colorado School of Mines. The club baseball team is looking to keep their hot streak rolling this weekend in Fort Collins against rival Colorado State. They'll play 1 game tonight before a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. First pitch this evening will be at 6:30. The tennis team is staying in town this weekend and is looking to snap a 2-match losing streak when they take on the Washington schools. They're currently going head-to-head with the Washington State Cougars and will cap off the homestand when they take on the Washington Huskies at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Last but definitely not least, both the men's and women's club lacrosse teams are in action this weekend. The men's team will take on Texas tomorrow at 1 p.m., and the women's team will play 4 games in the Mile High tournament this weekend. Action for the girls kicks off tonight at 8 p.m. against UCF before they take on 3 top 10 teams later in the weekend. You can catch all of the action on our YouTube channel. That's all we've got this weekend. I'm Troy Finnegan, and back to you guys at the desk.
Finally, time for our trivia answer. As you may recall, we asked in which college basketball season were both the men's and women's Buffs ranked in the AP poll. We have to go back almost a decade to find the answer, which was the 2013-2014 season, where the men's peaked at number 15 and the women's peaked at number 11.
Well, that's all we have for you this week, Buff fans. Thank you for tuning in.
We hope that you will join us next week at 5 p.m. As always, for all the latest in CU athletics. And remember, you heard it here first. Sko Buffs.